So honestly though, thanks everybody for coming. We'll show the slides here in just a moment. And if you came to the Cyberbacker Mastermind for standing out from the noise in a sea of billions on all these social media apps, then you're in the right room. If you came to hear Shara perform at her gig tonight, you are not in the right place, and you should follow her on Instagram to hear her sing and play her guitar. So, look at her blushing. I love that. All right, goal accomplished for today. All right, so thank you all for coming, and we are just going to get moving. And first off, Shara, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? I really appreciate you being here. Why don't you tell everybody on the call who you are for us?
Yes, of course. Happy Thursday, everyone. I'm Shara. I'm the growth backer who's working very closely with Jeff. So pretty much, I'm actually the one who helps our clients evaluate their business and help them to figure out their one thing, and helping them to figure out the job description. And of course, what we do is to provide virtual support to all of our clients. So if you're looking for virtual services, definitely I'm the right person to talk with. So that's it. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Shara. And Shara is really the backbone of our sales team, is another way that I like to say it. So when people come and ask me questions, I say, you're really the best person to ask is Shara. I just stand here and look pretty, and that's about how that works. Irene is our career backer, and she's doing what she does best today, right now. She's sitting in a group interview with what we like to call our lightning round, where she's helping a client find their Cyberbacker right now. So she couldn't make it, unfortunately, but for those that don't know me, I'm Jeff. I am the franchise partner for Cyberbacker Maryland, one of the franchises for Cyberbacker across the country. Across the country, we have over 4,000 Cyberbackers working virtually in the Philippines for clients here in the US. And so you're in good company to be here. Thanks for joining us. As that goes, if you didn't have a chance to make our Optimizing Your Database presentation last month, please feel free to shoot an email or a message in the chat to Shara, and she'll send you the link so you can catch up on that. And also any of the handouts that we had to learn how to make sure that you're growing your business properly through your database. It was a great one. Really appreciate it. And then first, as we get into the content, so Corey, no cheating, because I'm sure you remember this from 14 months ago. We're all here at this point, especially to learn more about crafting online presence in our social media accounts. So out of the popular social media apps, we'll say, websites, whatever it is you want to call them, out of the popular ones today, which one do you think was the first one to launch? So go ahead, either throw it in the chat, come off mute and share out of the ones that are still popular today. So MySpace is not included for all you dinosaurs that are still using it. I still have a MySpace account. I can't tell you the last time I logged in. So for all you dinosaurs that are still using it, MySpace is not the answer. What are the other ones that are still popular use today? What do you think? Go ahead. Facebook. That's often the guess. That is not the right answer. That's close though. What do you think? For some reason my text messages here aren't scrolling. Let's get that fixed. Facebook. Everybody said Facebook. All right. No. Good. Believe it or not, it was, you ready for this? LinkedIn was first. All right, so LinkedIn launched in 2002. So then what's next after LinkedIn? Facebook, there we go. So Facebook, originally this was really devoted to video. So you may see some video logos on here for these apps. And just to make it simple, so Facebook launched 2004. What about next? Next social media app, video app, we're gonna go through like 6 here.
Twitter.
Twitter was not it though close. They came out almost the same year, just months apart. YouTube was next. And then we got our famous Twitter X. I think just going for some of those oops, did I just give that one away? Did y'all see it? What was next?
We saw it, Jeff.
Instagram, that's right. Instagram popped up next, which by the way, we've got, I can do a whole presentation on Instagram and how they became $1 billion company, which is just pretty crazy in my mind. All right, so one more popular social media app. Which one do you think it is? Came out next. So Instagram launched in 2010, by the way. So 14 years old this year. Makes me feel old. What was next? Come on. I know everybody knows this one. Last one we're going to talk about today.
Snapchat.
Marco, you make me feel old by saying that. I've never snapped.
I haven't either.
My kids always pick on me for it. Snapchat, the other one that Pinterest is apparently much more about social media than I realized, but you can grow a business off of Pinterest. But another popular one. It started out being called Musical.ly and was bought up by another company that everybody knows as, come on, Kay.
TikTok.
I knew Kay would throw it in. All right, good. Thanks, Kay. So TikTok, that's right. TikTok was the next one. There we go. So what I really, really want to know on all of these different social media platforms, what is it that businesses or why is it that people are creating content? What is it that they hope to get by creating content?
It depends.
Followers.
Followers. For what reason? Marco, it depends. You can obviously chime in on a couple different reasons. Go for it.
Brand building, relationship building, feed sales funnels.
There we go. All three of those: brand, relationship, sales. Obviously, to stay top of mind with followers. It's one of the big reasons to post, right? I'm sure you've heard some of the crazy stories out there with some of the companies, as far as how many times they encourage you to post. There are people out there that say post 40 times a day, and others 8 times a day, and others are 8 times a week. And some people for Instagram gurus are saying as long as you post at least 3 times a week. So numbers vary pretty dramatically. And the reasons don't really change. And the reason is we want to be able to stay top of mind with our clients, our network, our followers, right? With family, perhaps, building relationships, maintaining relationships. Because, somebody read the quote for me.
I feel like I'm the only one who talks. Top of mind means tip of tongue.
All right, that's right, because top of mind means tip of tongue. What I love everybody to do really, really quick, I want you to take a pen and write this down. And then again, you can throw this into the chats too, if you want to. Why was this mastermind important for you to attend today? Tip of tongue could be for a referral. Yes, it could be for a referral, or it could just be talking about you, right? We're not always referring people to Coke, but sometimes we talk about those polar bears for sure, right? Because obviously, if you're taking the time out to be on this call today, you are hoping to take something away from it. So Shara wrote to gain more leads. Great, love it. That's just, I love the raw honesty there, Shara, for sure. Who wants to, there we go, to optimize using your socials. Love it. Here's Jeff's jokes. I often laugh mostly at myself. At one point, Marco, speaking of my jokes, at one point,
Here we go.
at one point, I did one of these calls from a helium factory, and I realized I could never do it again. Do you know why?
Bye.
Because Shara told me she couldn't stand my tone. Hey, all right, there we go. So, mastermind important. So we've got hearing my jokes. We've got getting better at social. For me, one of the big reasons I changed it, if you caught the beginning when I was talking to Corey, one of the big things I changed about it was to identify and create a broader content strategy than what I really thought the first one was. A lot of companies over the past couple of years, when they realized everything was going short form and it was getting exhausting for some people, they actually throttled back a little bit and started adding emphasis to just standard post again to make sure that those weren't getting lost. And not just because the companies told us to, but that is a good strategy that you should write down. Pay attention to their news feeds, right? So to what the company announcements are. They'll tell you what's important to get recognized because they want your post to go viral too. And having a broader content strategy across social medias and a variety of different ways to get in touch with your clients is obviously a very important way to go. And so coming from that matter, again, you're here to learn what obstacles, you can write this down too. What obstacles are you currently facing when you're looking to create or publish your content? Corey might actually be sitting in my old office. That's just looking at the office in the background. I'm not sure. But compliance issue, sure. Time, understandable. All right, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a story. That was important for you all to know because again, understanding why you're making the time and what you're hoping to get out of it. At the very least, it'll give you an idea on what questions you might want to ask a little bit later if we don't get into it. And at the very most, it should open you up to realizing what it is that you're hoping to gather from the conversation that we're having today. And so when I started posting videos, I started because of a webinar that I taught called 365 Days. It was one life-changing habit that you could use to hack your year. And so anybody that's been to that class of mine, because I've done that once a year for about 4 or 5 years, what's the one habit I encourage everybody to do if they could do nothing else? What do you think it is? Shari, no cheating. You've been to it at least twice. It's writing thank you notes. It's not making video. No, writing thank you notes. If you could do nothing else, start by looking at those that you care for in your business and your family and your network that you could just say thank you to. Now, I'd already done the thank you note challenge in the past, but encouraging everybody to do that, I thought maybe I'll start the year and we'll make 365 days of thank you videos, because I knew that videos was something I needed to be better at. I actually hate video. It scares the heck out of me. Sometimes it makes my pits sweat. And I didn't like the idea of having a permanent piece of physical media that existed for all of eternity out there online where I might mess up. And it just scared me. And so I thought we'd start with 365 days of thank you notes. And in the 365 days of thank you notes, I started to feel like that was a little self-serving. It didn't feel right to read the thank you notes or the replies on these videos. And so I quickly started to move out of it. I moved into putting up some coaching content, which was doing some good and some not good. But what I realized the more and more that I posted was that as I started to record more, I was taking less takes. Right? In fact, after a couple of weeks, I gave myself the challenge of just saying, hey, I'm just going to do this video one take. However it lands, that's the way it would go. And so I went from 14 to 20 video takes every 15, 30, 60-second video to just going with one go. Because the more you do something, the more confident you get at doing it, because the more competent you get at doing it. Fair? This is what we call the competence loop. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking about that today. But what we know and what we realize is that the more often we do something, the more expert level and mastery level we start to approach with it. And being more confident gives us more competence. Being more competent helps us with our confidence. And so I knew that in order to get better, I just needed to go out there and start doing this over and over and over again. And so here's some of my early coaching videos. Look, I had a 36, a 34, huge success, right? Lots of people watching these things. I even had this one time where it hit 141. That was super excited for me. I'm pretty sure I bragged to all my kids about that. 5 daughters, right? It was amazing. It was like the best year of my life in that week. And then after a few months, we had a couple things start to pop. We had one hit 3.5 million on one platform, jumped to 2.6 on another, 22.5 million on another. And Instagram's always loved me. They gave me the big old 7,000, right? So, which is just proof that not all content works everywhere. And what's really, really interesting is this wasn't coaching videos though, because while I was making the coaching videos and I was trying to get into that content, what I realized is I was really delivering other people's content, right? I was giving some coach feedback. I was talking about some things and some practices, but it was really, oftentimes it was something that came from a book I just read. One thing, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, sharing some thoughts on it, but it wasn't my thoughts. And it wasn't my content. It wasn't me being genuine. In fact, still to this day, I often ask myself as I'm doing some of these other pages, am I a curator or a content creator, right? Am I sharing other people's content with people in order to gain eyes and attention? Or am I sharing my content with other people? So if I'm sharing other people's content, and we just talked about what sharing content does for us as a business. If I'm sharing other people's content, what do you think people are talking about after the content has been digested? Other people, that's right? I share a Tony Robbins video, they're talking about Tony Robbins. If I'm sharing a Simon Sinek video, they're talking about Simon Sinek, right? If I'm sharing a Mel Robbins video about 5-second rule, and I've got a completely different definition of the 5-second rule, then they're not talking about me picking up a worm off the street. I mean, French fry that landed on a worm off the street within 5 seconds and eating it. We're talking about Mel Robbins talking backwards, right? Like counting backwards. So they're talking about the content I shared, but they're not talking about me. I'm not top of mind, and I'm not even being looked at as a facilitator in that end. Fair? Does it mean that I can't share stuff? No. Is there a right place to? Yes, probably stories, right? As opposed to my permanent feed where people will go look. Will it gain my follower count? Absolutely. There's tons of pages, these no-face pages that gain followers. But again, depending on the type of business that you're looking to build, and I think most of us here are looking to build our personal business as opposed to selling stuff on Amazon, affiliate link type business, then I want to make sure that people are thinking about me. I want to be the creator. And so what also happened around the same period of time is my father-in-law got sick. And we decided as a family, it would be fun to cheer him up by sending him some dad jokes. And so that's what we did. And my mother-in-law looked at me and said, "Hey, Jeff, these are great. You should put these online instead of your coaching videos." I think there's a small part of her that still hoped I quit coaching and went back to my other jobs. But 5 years later, haha, last laughs on you, Wendy. So anyway, what really happened though is we started to put these out there, and sure enough, they started to get some extra attention. The first few were only the couple thousand or a couple hundred views, just like the coaching videos had been. But then, as you can see, they started to grow, and they didn't really stop growing. Still have videos every month that break 30,000, 300,000 type views. And they've been shared across a bunch of other platforms by other people. I've got a guy on Instagram, though Instagram doesn't like me. Another guy on Instagram that's shared my videos to the point where they've hit 11 and 20 million views on there. So the estimation just from the video views on my accounts, we've achieved over 100 million views as a family. And if down in all those other ones, I can begin to guess, but I'm going to assume it's over 150. So it all started literally because we just said, like, how can we cheer our family members up, right? Like, what can we do to add value to our family members? It was coming out of COVID. Facebook, as you know, let us know, like the just get really negative sometimes, right? And like you can get lost in a spiraling downward cycle of negativity if you allow yourselves to go down that path. And we just thought it'd be fun to bring positivity to the feeds, bring some smiles. Now, what I realized is I didn't want to completely get rid of my coaching content, and so I started to sneak it in still. I snuck it in inside of captions. So if anybody ever reads the captions on my videos, they're almost always a coaching question that kind of has to do with whatever the joke was today. Today was about interviewing in a tech environment because today was a joke about the internet, right? And so check out the captions at some point. But what I want to do from a mastermind standpoint is we want to go through and answer a few questions for ourselves and for the business that we're working to build today inside of our social media. And so a big part of that is what I call defining your legacy. And inside of legacy, again, like my father-in-law was sick, and that's why we started to post videos. And as my mother-in-law encouraged us to share the videos, my mother-in-law was often the first person every single morning to jump online and like our dad jokes. It was a great way for her to see her grandchildren. In fact, I started to connect with family all across the US that I hadn't seen in many, many years, some of which I literally haven't seen in decades still because they were just all over the US. And even people that I've never met before reached out and asked me if I was family. But as the year went on, we realized something that we didn't know at the time, and that was that my mother-in-law was sick. And in the time that she took driving my father-in-law back and forth to the hospital, that she was actually suffering some back pain. And what we didn't know was the back pain was actually cancer. And she thought it was sore muscles from being in the car as often as they were driving back and forth to Philadelphia from the farther out town that they lived in. And by the time they discovered the cancer, it had metastasized and it spread up and down her spine and into quite a few different organs and her brain. And so what we realized very quickly was that she was not going to live very long. And this, again, just from a dad joke standpoint, gave her a chance to still stay connected even when the family couldn't be there every day. And we were there a lot over the next few months. But this gave everybody a chance to still smile. It gave her a chance to smile and joke. She was still one of the first ones that liked the videos every day and one of the first ones to comment and always sending back comments and replies. And I realized that video in this day and age isn't just about, and our posts in this day and age, right? Like it's a digital footprint for us for generations to come with many people that we don't have a chance to touch and see on a regular basis. So if you were to ask yourself from a legacy standpoint, there's one message that you would want family, friends, your business acquaintances, whoever, if there was one message that you wanted to be remembered for, what would it be? Go ahead and grab a pen and write that down. If there was one message that you wanted to be remembered for, what would that message be? So for me, humor was a big part of it. I've told my children several times, a lot of our family members have died over the past couple of years that we've done this. It's been a pretty interesting year for us, actually. And I've told my kids at every one of these funerals is the video that they play at my funeral is going to be the playlist I've created with these dad jokes, right? Like, I want them to go onto YouTube and hit play. And they're like, Dad, no, this is going to go for decades. Like, I want my grandkids remembering and thinking about it. But the other thing that I had to admit when I asked myself this question was, I want to leave those pieces of advice that I think my children could use and my grandchildren could use, and maybe my great-grandchildren could use for decades in terms of just being successful in business and in life. And could I tell them about that? In that sense, like, we could look at these videos, we could look at our content as a time machine, right? Like, how many of us wish we could go back and ask our grandparents questions that we just never would have thought about asking when we were 9 years old, right? Of course we do. And this is a way to leave some of that behind. My grandfather had the foresight to actually record on CD him reading a bunch of books for my children, which is fun because we've been able to now pass them on to younger generations that never even met my grandfather. And we'll soon be passing them on to even younger generations as I begin to have grandkids and meet somebody through their words that they've never had a chance to meet before. So for you, what one message? And if anybody wants to share, feel free to throw in the chat or come off of mute. What did you write down? Marco, you moved from being the only one talking to the only one on camera, actually. So
I know. Watching my gears turn currently. I got to think on the one message.
Yeah, that's all right. That's an important thought. And I don't expect everybody to finish it today. Go ahead, Corey.
No, so I was on a call, but I do remember this, and I love this part. I wanted to answer. The one thing that I want my friends and family remember me for is that I was inspiring. Like, I want to inspire them all.
Love it. Great. Thank you. Okay, so forward then, another thing to think about is how you might make an impact. Now, legacy and impact are a little bit different, right? Legacy is what you're remembered for. Impact, I like to think of it, it's like when the meteor hit, right? It's the big dent you leave in the ground where you were. Like, it's how you change the environment in which you interact. And so, impact sort of question, I like to usually go a little bit more mission here as opposed to vision. And so from a mission standpoint, some questions for you to help you identify your mission and perhaps what could be good content. Because again, this is us trying to bring out your voice in your content, whether that's a message that you're writing down, whether that's or a physical post, right? Or whether it's a video that you're having a chance to time. What are you naturally good at? So if you're a baker, a cook, perhaps that's something that you're just making, for lunch today, guys. I thought I'd share. Let me show you how I made it. Right? This is one of my favorite lunches. Let me show you how to make it. Right? Like something as simple as your favorite snowball and shop, right? Like build up the community, but build up you, but just, something you really love to do yourself personally. Hiking. Somebody that signed up, I was hoping they'd come. Started getting good traction because they would film some of their hikes. They just thought it was a beautiful day and just randomly filmed a hike and put it up and got more views than they'd ever received from any of their other social media content. And all of a sudden it was a thing, I'm going to film more. It's kind of what I enjoy doing anyway. I'm like, go figure. Who's been telling you to do that for years? So naturally good at curiosity for Christ. I love that. I'm not sure. That was perhaps something that I said earlier and I missed it, but that's inside of those questions and sharings and carings. You do have an opportunity to share faith for sure. Explaining complex things simply. Good. Yeah, then that's what we need to do. There's a lot of social media content gurus that tell you need to dumb it down to as if you're talking to a 5-year-old, right? If you're talking with 5-year-old language, you're gonna lose people because they have to think too much in the fast world of social media. Okay, what do people typically reach out to you for help with? Again, this is showcasing your expert status. If they're reaching out for help from you for this item, it's because they know you're the expert. And if they know you're the expert, then other people will also see you as an expert. I put out a video this morning, y'all can check it out in my story, where I said very simply, look, I get it. Like, my followers, I'm probably only sitting at like 35,000 followers, which isn't a lot for social media, right? Like, it's really where we really start to start talking. So I know I've done pretty good. I know I haven't done amazing. And I still get calls every single day from family and friends and other businesses that say, hey, Jeff, like I want to figure out how to do this on a video. I see you've done stuff like this in the past, call me, right? So being an expert doesn't mean you have to be the best. It means you're by your friends, family, network, followers as an expert in this area, you're better than they are, which means you're going to be better than a lot of other people. And it could be content that you're sharing. So again, write that down. What are people reaching out to you for? Is that something that you'd be willing to put some content into? I put some content into baking recently. It was not very good content, and the cake was not very good. And it was something I was doing that I was having some fun with, making a cake from scratch with my family. And I wanted to share. We were looking at different recipes and I like to share family content, obviously. So it fit in with my followers. If you had one thing that you would love to teach, what would you teach? So this is slightly different than the last one, right? The last one is, what is everybody else looking for you to teach? And this one is something that you would love to teach. So this plays in with your passion. What are you passionate about that you could just talk all day on? You know, my famous quotes go, seller financing, creative real estate transactions. Absolutely. Like the famous quote, you know, I'll give you 5 minutes to talk. How long would it take you to prepare? Well, a 5-minute talk could take me a day to prepare. If I give you an hour to talk, well, an hour talk might take me 3 or 4 hours to prepare. If I gave you as long to talk as you want to talk, well, I could do that right now. Jump on and talk right now. So a concise story, a concise message for something that you're passionate about. What could you talk about right now? Make sure you're writing it down. Financial literacy, yeah. Home buyers, market trends, cooking, relationship building. All right, Ashley, yeah. Could have used this morning. Sometimes my family's not very happy with the jokes. Love it, perfect. Thank you. All right, and this kind of takes us into an added question here. Who are you? Right? So sometimes what it is that we're talking about here are some of the things that we are. But when I say, who are you? Because again, this whole thing, it's about crafting a unique and authentic online persona. We got to understand who we are, right? Again, am I the person, that's advertisement disguised as a real on media. I don't really think I am. Like, that's just that's not me. But who am I? Well, I am a father and a family member. So if I'm posting father and family member content, it jives with my identity. It jives with my core values, right? So what about you? Like, who you say that you are? If you're having a tough time answering that question, text of your favorite people and ask them who they would say that you are. So Marco threw in calm, trustworthy listener, patient, problem solver. Love it. Yeah, and that I put here in the bottom, hint, like you aren't your job, right? A lot of us are posting, most of our content is about our job, and yet we are not our job. And so that content, we might have friends and other people that like it, and that's not who we are. Depending on the flavor we added to it, it's okay to post about our job, but depending on the flavor that we added to it, it might not feel inspiring. It might not feel touching. It might not feel motivating because we're putting it out there because we're trying to build our business. And a lot of people see through that on social media and they're tired of it, right? Not to be mean to anybody, but it's just what it is. You know, 10 seconds into a video of a friend who's I can tell is going to turn into a sales pitch, you know, a little courtesy little tap for the like and then move on, right? I know their sales pitch. I've been friends with them for 10 years. And I knew it was a story about something else that was important in their life. I'd be more inclined to listen all the way through. For sure. Okay. So we shift from our impact, our legacy, some of our values conversation, and we shift into how do we make this present on social media? So when I am on social media, what is it that I consume, right? What are you spending time on social media looking for? Again, like write down. Like for me, it's jokes, fail videos, right? I love fail videos. Now, am I going to go jump off of a bridge and land as a belly flop from 30 feet up just to make content? Nope. That's not my plan. I enjoy watching it. And I'm not going to be the guy that goes out there and doesn't as many followers as I might gain. That's not really part of my, I laugh at a ton of the dad jokes, share the dad jokes. Like, it was content that I could embrace. My kids have known me for dad jokes and literally bought me a Christmas that year that was just full of dad jokes. So people know me for dad jokes. They've known me for dad jokes for years, and it made absolute sense that I started doing dad jokes on media. And a lot of dads could probably say the same thing. But for you, like when your tips, hacks, positivity, I love it. Okay, what type of tips? Break that down a little bit more. What category? I know another coach that I worked with for a little while. She's like 60 years old and a lot of followers by posting Apple iPhone tips and tricks, right? just stuff that a lot of elderly people might not have known they could do. And then it jumped up to like 400 pretty quickly, posting about iPhone hacks for elderly, which I thought was a unique approach, right? I never would have done that or thought about that. But yeah, what do you, Kay?
Well, I look at things like I'm no longer in the retail industry, but when it comes to like fashion or cosmetics or cooking, especially I'm very busy because I'm a working mom. So if there's anything that will help me do something more quickly, those videos a lot. I also look at things that are in my industry, but that are quick tips to clients. Or, because a lot of people, to your point, they're consuming certain things, but there's still other information out there that they need to find. So I kind of try to be that human library, so to speak, and consume that content first thing in the morning when I wake up, and then at night, and then the following day, I'll work or I'll reach out to a friend and share those articles or those videos so they have the information.
I love that. A connector of content instead of just of people. Yeah. A lot of people that build a network connecting people. So that's a great way to go. Thank you. Okay, good. So probably what most of you all wrote down was something that was of value to you, right? One of the ways that I love to approach any of my videos, well, I think this is a slide later, actually. I'll hold off on saying that. But Russell Brunson, at one point, review of what valuable could look like when all of a sudden he decided to start doing a podcast one year where his podcast was literally just him driving to work each day. And so he jumped in the car, he hit record on his phone and just talked while he was driving. And whatever it was that he talked about in his 5 to 10 minute commute, so it varied in length, right? Because sometimes there was a little more traffic or red lights. But whatever it was that he chose to talk about in that commute became that podcast episode. And he put out a podcast daily for a year. And that to me just blew my mind a little bit. But it goes along with this quote from Russell Brunson. So somebody go ahead and read the quote for me. Marco, you read the last one. You can if you want to, but somebody else can too, for sure.
I'll read that one. You have something special inside you, something do, something you can teach. You are already an expert.
Yeah, there you go. Everybody is the expert of themselves for sure. So when you are thinking about sharing on your social network, you should share about what you're an expert in, which is you. So when we're thinking about sharing and adding value, often I like to refer to this as our value piggy bank. So we're going to put money into the value piggy bank every time that we're adding value to our social media network. Whenever we ask from our network, we risk breaking the piggy bank wide open, all right? Whenever we're asking, those are the ads, right? Does it mean we can't ask? No, it doesn't mean we can't ask. But when we do ask, we just need to understand that we've broken that piggy bank open again, where we've value and turned it into an ask, which is giving value back to ourselves. So we've cracked open the piggy bank to take that money out. Well, afterwards, when the piggy bank is broken, what do we need to do? Get a piggy bank, right? It's the whole thing. Like, we got to fix it back up again, and we need to start adding the value back in. Now, I would say that there's a possibility, because I've been testing this for a couple of years, there's a possibility that if I just continue to add and add the piggy bank to the point that it's overflowing, that people just start reaching out to me. And that's happened, right? Where people just literally say, hey, Jeff, can you help me with this? Hey, Jeff, could you come speak to our group? I heard a video on this recently, and I think that's exactly what our group needs to hear. Hey, Jeff, what do you know about these things, right? Like, they start reaching out. It gives me a chance to invite them to these webinars. It gives me a chance to go speak in person at certain events. Marco, I met at an event. Corey, I met at an event, right? Like, but this Kay and I met at events, right? Very first time I met any one of you, it was at an event inside of somebody else's building. Everybody but Corey. I think Corey, I met you at an event I might have been sponsoring, right? I think I was sponsoring the event you were at, not speaking at it.
Correct.
Yeah.
We did meet once before that. I remember it. I don't know if you do.
Well, and I was going to say, and I think the other time before that, I was attending an event, right? I don't remember. Yes. Yeah. So I was about to say, still at an event, but not mine. To that end, deliver content and give content, and people start to look at you as an expert in this area, they will start reaching out to you even if you don't ask them to. So think about. So what is your value plan? There's a lot of different ways to connect with people on social media. So just off the top of your head, why don't you start putting some of these puzzle pieces together? If you were going to post content today involving some of these questions that you've answered, what might you post content about? What type of content and on what? Is it a story? Is it a video? Is it a picture with some blog-like content, a little story about what is it you're thinking about? Is it just words with no picture, maybe a pretty little background with your avatar, right? Like, the colored post or whatever. Think this through real quick. If you were to post something today, what type of content would you post today? What type of content would you like to post in general? If it wasn't just today, something that you had some time to build over the next 10 to 30 days and looking forward towards the future, what type of content would you like to be posting? Okay, so after writing that down, I'm going to introduce you to what I call the content matrix. It's not what I just call the content matrix. I stole this from some website that calls it the content matrix. I'm just kidding. There's a ton of different websites that have this out there. And again, it builds into a little bit of the story I've been telling myself about content for a few years now. And that is, again, to add value, we tend to educate is the first thing people think of when they're thinking about adding value. But entertainment obviously adds value as well, right? We look to inspire, right? Or encourage, another word for inspire that's out there. And then convincing is where we start feeling a little bit more in the sales approach. Now, all of your content can fit into one of these different quadrants of the content matrix, right? As we're moving from our rational thinking, logical, and into our emotional, we're moving between education and entertainment. A lot of times that's where my content lies. Even my educational stuff these days still feels a little like entertainment. At least I think it does. And then as we're moving from education to convincing, that's going from awareness to proper product knowledge to be able to make a decision and make a purchase, right? So inside of our content matrix, this is where our content lies and how we should be thinking about our content based on the reaction that we want to make from our consumer, right? Like our network. So if our network is looking at our content and have a purpose behind the content that we're going in to make, it's either entertain or educate or inspire, then I need to know where inside of the spectrum that I want to sit. Think disc profile, right? Is it going to be high DI? Is it going to be, a little bit of CNS, right? I don't know. Like, what does that look like for you? And so here's one with some things filled out on it. Feel free to take a screenshot or zoom in or whatever. But some quizzes, some competition. We guessed for our Cyberbackers a month ago. His name's Todd Collins, and he encourages as your story every single morning. Like it should what's being put up at 7 or 8 a.m. Because if somebody interacts with your story with a little yes/no poll or a little 50-50 or whatever, like somebody interacts with that story, then that encourages Instagram or Facebook or whatever to push people towards your content all day long because they're seeing engagement with your content. And if you're known for that, they might come every day to look for that story. So again, like the you wrote down just a minute or two ago as the type of content that you want to be creating, where does it fit into this matrix? Is it already on this list? Webinars, a little bit more towards purchase here, but anybody that's attended my webinars knows that I'm a lot more on the educational side of webinar than the purchase side of webinar. We throw a little slide up with a QR code at the end. Shishes, I was much more on the purchase side of webinar, but for the most part, I'd rather just, again, continue to add value to people by helping them grow their business. If we pitch too much, people might not show up, and that's not what I'm here for. I want to see people grow their business. And if you happen to want to use this later, awesome. But if not, I'd rather you keep coming and growing your business because we all grow together that way. So no format and the style, again, what you should be asking yourself with every piece of content is what value does my audience gain from this? Today's story I did in 2 takes, and I don't usually do 2 takes anymore, but it took me 2 takes. And the reason it took me 2 takes this morning is I realized as I was finishing up my first version that there was a lot of I in it. There's a lot of I. And I doesn't add a lot of value to the people I want to be reaching out to. what adds a lot of value is perhaps what I did that you might be able to use, right? But the time that I'm reaching out to add value to people, I want to talk about you. I want to know what you can do, what you can grow, process you're having, what obstacle you're encountering, so that we can help you through those obstacles and you enjoy your experience with us, right? So, and again, this comes down to the value. So what value will your audience gain from that piece of content that's going out? Is it a laugh? Is it a conversation? Sometimes it's a good debate. Like some people to throw out something that's a little fiery to get some people talking, right? Like that's okay. Some people love debates. All right. Okay. So I'll show you a couple of examples, some things that I've done. So inside of my business, inside Cyberbacker, and Shara knows that she's been with me the whole part of the journey. 2.5 years ago, I said, this content sucks. I was like, I don't like what we make. I was like, it all sounds like ads. I'm not going to put out ads on my social media for just expect people to follow. So I literally just started watching a bunch of podcasts to get entrepreneurs that were being interviewed on how they were successful in business and taking clips from them and adding my own little thoughts to them on our Cyberbacker channel on YouTube. So it's entrepreneurial tips on what they could do with virtual assistants and as the content, right? So inside of my who am I as a business owner, this was how I wanted to provide content as a business owner. As a speaker or a coach, I obviously have webinars. I obviously still put out some video content about what you can do to grow as an entrepreneur, as a person, an individual. So again, some fun stuff, but a little bit more on the serious side. I've got ebooks, writing a real book, right? Some other things that we're putting out there to just, again, connect and give and add value. As a dad, we've obviously got the videos and the jokes. We've obviously share family high points, you know, college, right? Choosing which college to go to, which one you're committing to, success of my kids in their sports, success for my kids in their academics, other family successes. I've got a brother-in-law that owns a farm and a cousin that owns a farm, and both of them sell produce. So sometimes you'll see me share stuff from that because I encourage and want to see family success, right? So, and other business and coworkers things too. So these were the 3 personas that I identified as that I wanted to be a part of who I am as I share. Do I share outside of this? Absolutely. But these are the main 3 pieces. And so if I was filling out a personal content matrix, which I have as a handout for you, so if you would like it, I can send you this handout. I'll also show you a blank screen for this in just a moment. But if I was filling out my personal content matrix, I would want to identify the 3 different type of people that I think that I am, the 3 who's in my life, right? As a dad or a family member, as a speaker or a coach, as a business owner. And then inside of that content matrix, we saw the 4 different categories: entertaining, educating, and inspiring. That's where I chose to stick. You could obviously add in convincing, or you could add in the element of able to make a decision. But this is for you to figure out what you want to add in. And then what am I going to do in each of those areas for the different parts of my business and life? How am I going to use the ways that I want to connect and add value to people inside each of those elements? So that way I'm doing what makes me comfortable, what I know people are calling and asking me for, in a way that helps me feel authentic and feel like me. Make sense? Great. All right. So that's the big question. How will you tell your story? Here's your sheet, right? So in the who section, as you were identifying the type of person that you wanted to see and be, fill your identities across the top in whatever way you feel that makes sense to you. This is about you. That's how I filled it out for me. This is about you. And again, that's kind of what my story said this morning, is like I realized going into this that the series that I made of this was called Wide Video, but not everybody wants to make just video, right? Video is super important. And some people that are never going to feel comfortable doing it. Now, I think that's a limiting mindset. But that being said, I'm not here to try to convince everybody to use video. What I am here to do is say that you can touch your audience through your personal experiences in whatever way you choose to. You wouldn't have come to this call if you didn't want to find a way to connect with your audience from a more personal approach that is you. So going down the left side, again, also write from the 4 quadrants what you're hoping to deliver inside of that identity for yourself. Are you hoping to deliver entertainment, education, inspiration? And then how will you deliver that? Okay, coming up to the end here. So this is always super important. If you're a business coach like me, to make sure that you've identified, the handout actually has the intent statement on it, which is, I will post this blank on this day at this time or by this time, right? So I want you to do the same thing. Understanding your legacy, your impact, who you are, and the type of content that you want to deliver. When will you put out your first post, and how regularly will you put it out? Go ahead and write that down. Commit today to when you will put that post out, and don't say a month from now. Like, make it soon while you've got the momentum from this fall. Okay, so know somebody that would like to talk to Shara about finding somebody that can post this stuff for you. If you got your own content, you can always obviously deliver it to them and make it for you. And have a way to be authentic, right? I could always record my things and have somebody else edit it and add the captions and put it online, right? Obviously, for you to scan this, reach out to Shara, and she can help you identify the role that you're looking for, or any other thing, really. And then from that standpoint, next month, unlock your team's potential, identifying the strength inside of your network and those that you work with, and figuring out how you can balance and grow your team in an amazing way using those strengths. So for those that don't have it, here's my personal info. Feel free to take a screenshot. It's my direct cell phone number and email address, so you don't need to be afraid of somebody other than me. That's not like a thing, and doesn't go to any other business number. So feel free to share. All right, so how do we do? Who wants to share? When are you posting? What posting? Or any other questions? I'm sure I did just think and realize I should update that QR code. Cyberbackermaryland.com/masterminds is the easiest way to read our stuff now. I got tired of rewriting the URL every single time we created a new Eventbrite. And so that would be trying to create an automation step that was a lot easier instead of reinventing the wheel every single month. Okay. Has anything? I really thank you all for coming. Was that able? Give me a hand raise, a shake. All right, good. Because again, you were the test subject for half of that call. Half of that was brand new stuff. So it felt like it went pretty smooth, and that was a success as far as I'm concerned. Thank you. Look, y'all have number and information. I literally put out dozens of pieces of content every single week. If you need help with this, feel free to reach out to me too. Be happy to walk you through what you wrote down. If you do want the PDF, shoot for myself an email or a text, and we'll send the PDF over. But basically, it's that sheet if you want to get a firm foundation for scribbling it out, or have a few copies to think through, or hand to your friends. Just let us know. Thanks, everybody. Have a great one.